On this episode, Michelle Fontaine takes us to Mystic, Connecticut, a charming historical destination for RVers of all ages. From the historical seaport to lunch at the famous Mystic Pizza, this destination should be on your 2022 must-visit list. Just about all RVers know what brake control systems do, but do you know how to properly set them up and use them? In this week's Straight Talk segment, Jeff Johnston explains to Michelle all about brake control systems. Everyone knows to look out for poison ivy and poison oak, but does your dog? I don't think so. That's up to you. Dr. Fitz explains what to do if your dog, or any pet for that matter, comes in contact with either of these two plants. Later, with winter almost officially here, it's time to start getting your RV ready for storage. But in today's world, you should also consider sanitizing it. Mark and Dawn Polk from RV Education 101 shows us how to properly clean and sanitize your RV. Then, be sure to tune in next week for some really big news. Closed and Spanish captioning, where available, is sponsored by Forest River. Follow the river.
Hi, this is Michelle from RVing Today. This destination story is Mystic, Connecticut, which is a village in Groton and Stonington, Connecticut. Historically, Mystic was a significant seaport with more than 600 ships built over 135 years, starting in 1784. Mystic is a busy village, so I chose to stay at the Mystic KOA Holiday, which is very close to everything and has all the great amenities. 10 minutes away is our first stop, the Mystic Seaport Museum. Parking is free, and they have large parking lots. You might find a spot for your RV. You can spend an hour or a day in this beautiful area. It consists of more than 60 historic buildings, most of them rare commercial structures, moved there to the 19-acre site and meticulously restored. This is a 19th century seafaring village. What a great way to spend a day, and it offers wonderful educational opportunities as well. You can actually get on board some of these ancient ships. Does your RV have a name? Mine does. Many of us name our RVs. It's kind of fun. But boat naming started over 1,000 years ago, when sailors named their vessels after gods, goddesses, or saints, hoping to bring good fortune to their travels. Our next stop today is the Mystic Aquarium. This is one of my grandson's favorite spots. This marine aquarium has one of only 2 United States facilities holding stellar sea lions, and it has the only beluga whales in New England. One of the special exhibits is a real treat to my grandson, the Jurassic Giants dinosaur exhibit. So if you have children, do consider visiting the Mystic Aquarium. And now for lunch. One of my favorite places to eat in this area is Mystic Pizza, and it just so happens that it was the launch of one of our favorite actresses, Julia Roberts. The story goes, our pizza captivated screenwriter Amy Jones while she was summering in the area. Miss Jones chose Mystic Pizza as the focus and setting of her latest work. Her story follows the lives and loves of 3 young waitresses. The movie was filmed all over Mystic and in neighboring towns. The classic film, Mystic Pizza, was released in the fall of 1988. I can attest to the fact that their food is very delicious. I got the Veggie Delight pizza, a salad, and a glass of vino, and it made a wonderful lunch. While enjoying the village shops after lunch, I was delighted to hear the sound of the drawbridge going up. The Mystic River Bascule Bridge actually connects the Groton side of Mystic with the Stonington side of Mystic, and it's a famous drawbridge built in 1922. What a great ending to our visit to Mystic, Connecticut.
Aquacam toss-ins, so fast and easy to use, it could seem like a game. Someone once said, the camping doesn't really start until the RV awning comes out. Whoever said that really knew what they were talking about. Carefree of Colorado, celebrating 45 years of RV awning innovation. For more information, visit our website at carefreeofcolorado.com.
Greetings, I'm Jeff Johnston, and this is Straight Talk, where we answer your questions and address some technical items about RVing that may be of interest to you. Today, we're here with
Michelle Fontaine of RVing Today, and I'm visiting Jeff and Pam in Oregon. And while we were driving the truck yesterday, Jeff actually drove my rig for a couple of hours and got a good feel for it.
Yeah.
Which is why these things have come out.
Yeah. And part of what we noticed while driving was that the trailer brakes seemed a little bit off on adjustment relative to the truck brakes. These are all things that you can change according to your brake control. And while we were driving then, I was doing some adjustments and getting it dialed in a little bit closer. And
this is all new to me.
Michelle seemed a little bit surprised about what I was doing.
I was, and I've driven this rig about 10,000 miles. So,
Okay.
And there's a little knob, little lever there, and I would try to tweak that to make it feel more correct. But there are some things I had no idea about. So,
Well, it's this is one of those things that people get a little bit confused about sometimes, and they're not quite sure how to make this work right. Well, we're going to be showing you, this is the Takancha Voyager XP model. Most brake controls, aftermarket brake controls like this, have similar features and similar controls. It just may look a little bit different, but this is a very good general example of what these things look like. And a lot of the larger vehicles, pickups and SUVs and so on today, have integrated brake controls built in by the factory, and those are terrific, but they all have similar controls and similar features. It's just delivered in a different way. So this one, the first thing that I noticed was that the trailer brakes did not seem to be affecting the truck very much, and you find that out easily enough. They all have a manual application lever on the front.
I had no idea.
Yeah, there's a spring-loaded lever that's designed to be able to just move it all the way over till it stops. And what that lever is doing is applying full power to the trailer brakes. This is an emergency situation sort of piece of the brake control. If the trailer starts to sway, for example, the worst thing you can do is step on the brakes on your truck, because that swaying is going to be aggravated. If the trailer starts to sway a little bit, you keep your foot off the gas and off the brake, and you apply the trailer brakes a little bit, and then that pulls the trailer directly in line, snaps it right in line behind your tow vehicle, and stops that swaying situation, or it usually does anyway.
What about in an icy situation, Jeff? How would you?
If it's icy, you need to be driving someplace else.
Well,
you know the old saying for RVers, like the snowbirds, the first snowflake that falls on my head is God's fault. The next one is my fault.
Okay.
So anyway, but if you're in an icy situation,
Stop.
All bets are off. You know,
Okay.
that changes it. And if you jam this on in an icy situation, the trailer is going to start sliding all over the place, because obviously the wheels will lock up on the ice.
All right.
Now, this Takancha is very much like most brake controls, very similar controls. You have the manual on the front here, and there's a wheel on the right that is the gain control. That is the volume that tells the brake control how much voltage to send back to the trailer. And that's important to be able to change that, because every trailer is going to need a little bit different voltages. based on the weight of the trailer, number of axles, and so on. And in this case, on the other side, it also has a sensitivity setting. Not all brake controls have this, but the ones that do, this allows you to change the sensitivity of how the brakes react when you hit the truck brakes, whether the trailer brakes come on quickly or slowly, for example. And this is the manual controller on the front. This is very important to know. You should practice reaching down and grabbing this manual control when you're driving sometime, just to know where it is so you can kind of get accustomed to grabbing that manual control in an emergency situation. Adjusting your brake control is something that's going to take some trial and error. Every tow vehicle and trailer combination is going to be a little bit different. There's no such thing as installing this and heading down the road without touching it. In order to make the braking comfortable and well matched, it takes a little bit of adjustment, a little bit of tweaking here and there, but once you get it set up, you can forget about it because it'll last that way for a long time. And even if you change your payload a little bit, you carry a little more, a little less cargo, that small amount of difference in weight probably isn't going to affect how this works relative to your truck and trailer.
So if you're a solo camper like I am, if you're doing the driving, period, if you're doing the driving, you really should get comfortable with the brake controller.
Right.
And I'm really sorry that everybody doesn't have a Jeff that can drive along with them. So I hope this has helped.
Well, it's something that it just takes a little bit of experience to understand what you're feeling when you go to stop. You know, is the trailer dragging you, or is the trailer pushing you? Is there too much or too little brake control? And by the time you get this thing dialed in, like I say, you can forget about it and just enjoy the drive.
And you don't want to have to be playing with it in an emergency.
Yeah.
When you're already anxious, you don't want to be playing with that.
No, that the emergency, you got to be dialed in so that you can not have to do that in an emergency.
Excellent.
So I hope that this helps, and happy travels.
Thank you, Jeff.
From off-the-road adventure camping to luxurious full-time RVing and everything in between, Forest River has the RV to fit your needs, budget, and outdoor lifestyle. To see our full line of trailers and motorhomes, visit forestriverinc.com. Forest River. Begin the journey. At Norco, we realize that some of your favorite RV destinations are off the grid. And Norco refrigerators are uniquely designed with that RV experience in mind. We call it Freedom Unplugged. To learn more about our Norco RV refrigerator line or to find a dealer near you, visit our website at norco.com.
Welcome to Rollin' On TV's Paws on Board. I'm Dr. Fitz, and this is Scooby. Have you ever been exposed to poison ivy? For some people, it can cause debilitating blisters and sores, enough to make you want to avoid anything green for quite a while. Did you know that dogs can also suffer from the effects of the plant? Due to their fur, most dogs have no side effects after coming into contact with poison ivy. However, dogs with allergic skin conditions, short fur, or just short dogs in general, have a higher risk of exposure and a reaction. Come here, bud. Good boy. Dogs and humans both react to the oils of the plant. Dogs may develop a mild skin rash or even progress to open blisters. Your pet may also be extremely itchy. If your pet has a mild reaction to the plant, keeping the area clean with a gentle soap and water can be helpful. If that rash does not go away, or if it progresses to blisters, your pet should be seen by a veterinarian. They may need steroids to reduce itch and irritation, and even antibiotics if there's a skin infection. Places you may want to check your pet for a reaction are their feet. Make sure to check between their toes and paw pads, their belly and groin areas if the plant came into contact from below, and even their neck and chin. While they're sniffing the ground, they could have also come into contact with the plant that way. If your pet does not react, this does not mean that the danger is over. Pets can actually carry oil from the plant in their fur and expose you to the oils when you snuggle them that evening. A great way to avoid this is to keep your dog leashed at campgrounds and on trails. This way, your dog is always nearby and you can prevent them from coming into contact with unknown plants. If you are unsure if your pet has contacted poison ivy, the best thing to do is to bathe your pet. Use lukewarm, soapy water to remove the oils from their fur. You may want to wash their collar or leash as well. Identifying poison ivy can be somewhat difficult. I grew up with the saying, leaves of 3, let it be. But primarily look for thin stems with clusters of 3 leaves. Poison ivy can climb and be ivy-like or even appear as a small bush or shrub. When in doubt, avoid the plant and wash anything that may have contacted it. For more information about traveling safely with your pets, visit RollinOnTV.com. Tune in next time for more pet health information. I'm Dr. Fitz. This is Scooby. Thanks for watching Paws on Board.
Wow, am I glad I used Aquacam. Maybe chili wasn't the best idea.
Aquacam, the most powerful odor control available and the #1 seller for over 50 years.
Hi, I'm Dawn Polk with RV Education 101. We deep clean our RV every winter prior to storage and in the spring after storage. But today, with concerns over COVID-19, simply cleaning the RV is not enough. Now we need to clean and disinfect our RVs. We have family members in the RV, we stay at different campgrounds all over the country, and many of you are renting your RVs for additional income. What I think is really important to understand, especially during this pandemic, is how to thoroughly clean, sanitize, and disinfect our RVs. This is what we're going to discuss today. To really disinfect against COVID-19, we need to first understand how the virus is spread so we know how to disinfect against it. Studies show coronavirus is transmitted primarily by inhalation or from touching contaminated surfaces and then transferring the virus to your face or eyes. Recent studies indicate the virus can remain airborne for up to 10 minutes and remain on some surfaces for several days. So we need to be concerned about sanitizing against airborne germs and germs on all the various surfaces in the RV. Let's talk about how you do that. The first step is to thoroughly clean the RV with a general cleaning product. Products like Simple Green or Mr. Clean are good all-purpose cleaners. All surfaces in the RV must be cleaned before you disinfect. The reason is cleaning helps remove germs, but it does not necessarily kill the germs. Disinfectants kill germs. The CDC website lists products that disinfect against COVID, and the EPA has what is called the List N tool, where you can enter an EPA registration number of a product to see if it is a disinfectant that works against COVID-19. The EPA registration number is typically found on the rear label of the product. There are lots of disinfecting products listed, and after reviewing the list, there are 3 disinfecting products that we always use and keep in our RV: rubbing alcohol, hydrogen peroxide, and regular household bleach. Having these products on hand is one thing, but understanding how to effectively use them is another. For example, I'm a fan of Clorox when it comes to disinfecting. I always recommend RV owners disinfect their RV water system when they take the RV out of storage or whenever you notice an odor in the water system. But did you know not all Clorox products are disinfectants? That's why it's important to always read the labels on the products. This Clorox product is not a disinfectant, but this one is. Always read the labels to make sure what products disinfect and what products do not disinfect. RV 101 tip: this Clorox product is a cleaner plus bleach and kills COVID-19 within 30 seconds. Something else important to understand is most disinfectants only work if you follow specific directions. Let's look at some of the products you can disinfect against COVID-19 if you follow the directions. The 3 products I want to concentrate on are rubbing alcohol, Clorox bleach, and hydrogen peroxide. All 3 are disinfectants if you follow the directions. Always wear and use personal protective equipment for the products you are handling. Process to disinfect using rubbing alcohol. Rubbing alcohol needs to contain at least 70% alcohol to be effective as a disinfectant. Make sure you read the label. Do not dilute rubbing alcohol when you use it to disinfect. RV 101 tip. It's a good idea to test rubbing alcohol on surfaces to make sure it will not damage the surface prior to using the product. We already cleaned the surface to remove germs. Now we can wipe or spray the rubbing alcohol on the surfaces we are disinfecting. Rubbing alcohol must sit for a minimum of 30 seconds to effectively disinfect and kill germs. If it dries too quickly, you can reapply it on the surface again. Process to disinfect with hydrogen peroxide. We use hydrogen peroxide in the RV all the time. To disinfect, it must contain at least 1.4% hydrogen peroxide. What you typically buy in stores is 3%, so it will disinfect, but I would test it on surfaces first to ensure it will not damage any surfaces prior to using it. We already cleaned the RV to remove germs. Now we can wipe or spray the hydrogen peroxide on the surfaces we are disinfecting. Leave it on the surface for a couple of minutes to kill any germs. Process to disinfect with Clorox bleach. If you are using regular Clorox bleach, use a half cup per gallon of water, but it may be easier to use disinfectant wipes. We already cleaned the surface to remove germs. Now we can wipe the surface with the disinfectant wipes. Follow the directions for how long to leave it on the surface to kill the germs. Now that we know what products to disinfect with and how to do it, here are 7 tips on disinfecting your RV and preventing exposure to COVID-19. Number 1, when you enter the RV, remove your shoes and place them on a mat. This helps prevent tracking what may be on the soles of your shoes throughout the RV, and it helps keep the RV cleaner. Number 2, wash your hands as soon as you enter the RV using regular hand soap and warm water. Number 3, disinfect any surfaces you frequently touch like door handles, faucets, cabinet handles, and your phone. Number 4, use a HEPA air purifier to help prevent and control airborne germs from lingering and spreading. A study by NASA found HEPA filtration is effective at capturing particles below 0.3 microns. There are lots of air purifiers to choose from, and after researching different products, we decided on this Levoit Core 300 model to use in the RV. Number 5, after you clean surfaces, disinfect all porous and non-porous surfaces in the RV. This includes everything in the kitchen, the living room, bedroom, and the bathroom. Use the disinfectants we discussed earlier on non-porous surfaces and use a spray disinfectant like Odoban on porous surfaces like fabrics and upholstery. It is best to use disinfectant wipes to disinfect the toilet, tub, and shower surfaces, but do not dispose of the wipes in the RV's holding tank. Dispose of the wipes in the trash. Number 6. Opening vents or windows in the RV is perhaps the easiest way to allow airborne germs to exit the RV. Number 7. Last but not least, wash your hands, social distance, use hand sanitizer, and wear masks according to guidelines. It's important to remember for a disinfectant to kill germs, you must follow the product manufacturer's directions. We can all continue to travel and have fun in our RVs by understanding and practicing these simple cleaning and disinfecting procedures. To learn more about using and maintaining your RV, visit RVOnlineTraining.com. Happy camping.
For additional information on anything featured on this week's show, along with additional stories, videos, and information about RVs, camping, and the RV lifestyle, along with the latest news and trends, be sure to visit our website at RollinOnTV.com. As usual, this has been another fun production.